You think you're the hero. You always are, aren't you? But what if the game, the story, has been setting you up for this the whole time, and you just didn't know? Throughout your playthrough, you feel like you're doing the right thing. How could you not be? When the game makes it so easy for you to succeed, every morally abhorrent thing, every bad thing you do while playing these games can easily be chalked up to necessary evils that need to be done to promote the greater good. What if you are wrong? What if all the evil things you do within the course of playing these games are just evil? Whenever we play video games, we always look forward to that big bad enemy at the end, the final boss, you might say. But what if the final boss of a game is the one holding the controller? James Sunderland gets a letter from his dead wife. Come to Silent Hill. So he does. You guide James through the endless fog, fighting twisted, grotesque creatures. It's easy to believe that these creatures came about as a result of some kind of twisted evil force. Of course you feel like you're fighting an evil force. It makes the violence you inflict on these enemies feel justified. But that's the funny thing. Silent Hill doesn't create evil. It reflects it. These creatures you fight are manifestations of James's repressed guilt and desires. They aren't really enemies. They're more like mirrors. Pyramid Head isn't haunting James. He is James. Or rather, he's an entity James subconsciously created to haunt himself. Silent Hill doesn't create evil, it reflects it. And Pyramid Head is a reflection or a manifestation of James's need for punishment. If you're a fan of the franchise, you probably know what I'm alluding to. James Sunderland had killed his own wife. Not out of mercy, but out of selfishness. James did not come to Silent Hill to find his wife. He came to escape the fact that he killed her. And you, the player, has been helping him this whole time. Arguably, one of the most mind-bending moments in Silent Hill is... No, not that one. It's when James finds the videotape in the Lakeview Hotel. Throughout the game, you've been tracing clues, thinking you're getting closer and closer to Mary, your dead wife. When you play the videotape, you see it with your eyes. You see James smothering his wife with a pillow on the hospital bed. It's not told in dialogue, they don't hint at it. You watch it happen with your own eyes. You thought you were fighting to rescue Mary, but actually, you are fighting to forget what you did. And when you watch the tape, it doesn't just break James, it breaks you, the player. Because the whole story has just become an act of denial, unraveling in front of you. So if Pyramid Head indeed is the representation or manifestation of James's need to be punished, and James did in fact kill his wife, shouldn't he be punished then? And the mere fact that you've played this game up until this point, helping James kill all the monsters, doesn't that make you an accomplice? This next game is set in 1960s Taiwan. This is the period known as the White Terror, a period of martial law that led to mass arrests, censorship, and even executions. You play as Ray, a high school girl trapped in this strange abandoned school compound after being cut off from the outside world by an incoming storm. At first, this game tricks you into believing that it's just like any other regular horror game. You are trapped in school. You need to survive till daylight, fighting monsters and whatnot. The name of this game is Detention. Ray is in detention, but not the kind of detention you think. In Chinese folklore, the afterlife isn't just heaven or hell. It's a complicated purgatory system called DU. DU can roughly be translated into Earth prison. In DU, sinners are subjected to gruesome punishments that directly relate to their sins when they were alive. These are necessary punishments every sinner must undertake before they can be able to reincarnate. Or at least that's how the folklore goes. If you haven't already guessed, Ray is dead. Ray is in DU to get punished. It turns out she has done something very wrong. An act of betrayal that has led to several real-life deaths. This game is very gruesome and tackles a lot of heavy themes. If any of these things on the screen are triggering to you, I suggest you skip to the timestamp also on the screen to avoid, what's coming. Remember that I told you that this game is set in 1960s Taiwan, or the White Terror era, where martial law was out of control. This was a time where the government could censor anything that they thought was against the state's ideals. Any book, literature, idea, or concept that was considered remotely Western was heavily censored by the government. Anybody seen harboring these literatures, these books, these media were arrested, detained, and even killed. But meanwhile, there was a book club, members of which were the teachers and some of the students of that school. A safe place where all the Western or prohibited media like books and literature can be enjoyed in peace. Meanwhile, in the midst of all of this, Ray was actually in an illegal relationship with the school counselor. The counselor took advantage of Ray, who was emotionally vulnerable as a result of her depressing home life and her parents' turbulent relationship. Then Ray finds out that the counselor has also been involved with another female teacher at the same school, who happens to be the leader of the prohibited book club. Filled with jealousy and anger, she reports the book club to the authorities. That action resulted in the deaths of all the members of the book club, including the counselor, who happened to be a member as well. Overcome with guilt for what she has done, she jumps off the roof of the school building and kills herself. Though we have a lot of pity and sympathy for Ray and everything she goes through within the course of this game, we have to admit, she is not the hero of the story. One might even argue that she's the opposite. She made a selfish decision. I know, some of you think I'm going too hard on Ray. After all, maybe the relationship with the counselor was the only distraction she had from the constant torture she was going through at home. And you might be thinking, it's not Ray's fault, the government is to blame, because why would you kill people for reading a book or consuming a piece of media because you think that it's not aligning to ideals? And my reply to that will be, that's just the time period they found themselves in. None of this excuses Ray's actions, even though I understand her motivations and sympathize with her. It's important to know that not all villains are malevolent. So many things happen within the course of this story, so many things I can't even say here. But it's so interesting to me to see how Ray turns from becoming our so-called protagonist and becomes almost the bad guy of the story, because all the conflict occurs as a direct result of our actions. All that being said though, I've barely scratched the surface of what this game has to offer, so I completely recommend that you play the game yourself if you want to experience this in full. And we see this trope a lot in video games, this trope of being the unknown villain in the story, then come to find out at the end of the story that you are the villain all along. We've seen this trope a lot in video game. More popular examples of games that, have this trope are games like Shadow of the Colossus and Undertale, the genocide route. But the reason why I chose these two games in particular is because the conflict is more psychological. In these two games we talked about today, these two protagonists, James and Ray, they have done really, really bad things. And the whole conflict of the game is forcing them to come face to face with the reality of their actions. In Silent Hill, James comes to realize that he was the one that killed his wife, and he is the monster he has been running from this whole time. While in detention, Ray's punishment is to relive the circumstances and events that led up to her death over and over again. As depressing as these games could be, they're actually very, very realistic when it comes to the human experience. When we play video games, we want the protagonist to be the force of good, we want him to be innocent, we want him to be pure and just. But in the real world, it's not always black and white like that. Take yourself for example. Most people would like to believe they are decent, upstanding people. And you probably are to your family members and to your friends. But it's not, I won't be wrong in saying that. There are some people who just don't think of you like that. Some people might even think you're a straight up bad person. One person's terrorist is another person's freedom fighter. That's just the way life is. But what I love about these games is that they confront the dark side of human nature. You might actually be an actual upstanding, good guy. But as far as you're a human being, there's no light without dark. You have a good side, you have a bad side. That's just the way things are. Nothing is black and white. You probably haven't killed your wife like James did, but you have done some bad things in the past, things that hopefully you regret. So a lesson from these games could be, you have to first confront and conquer, or at least put in control, the dark side that is present in all humans. There is a light and the dark side to everyone. Everybody just, focuses on the bright side, the light side. But there is a dark side to everyone. And maybe the lesson of this game is to put that side under control. Because I know the dark side has some advantages when it is used in moderation. But first of all, put your dark side under control. Acknowledge it. Make sure you know it's there and put it under control before going to face external challenges. So that's the end of the video. That's all I had to say pretty much. I really love making these videos, but I'm really busy most of the times. I just make these videos in my spare time. But if you love the content, you enjoy what I'm talking about here, and you want to see more, just subscribe to the channel, like the video. That will let me know that people are actually interested in what I have to say. And comments in the comment section what you want to see next. So yeah. With that being said, I'll see you in the next one.